Hey friends, welcome back. Now we are going to continue our MERN stack series. This is our e-commerce project. So till now we have created this admin layout. We can do sign in, we can do sign up, we can do sign out. We have also created a sidebar for this admin application. Let me log in so you can see the better share the script.info. And we also have problem from the previous video. Let me show you where. So here, if you do sign in, after the sign in process you can do the sign out, right? But after like a couple of hours, let's say your token is valid for 1 hour, and after 1 hour if you try to sign out, you'll get an error that is like JWT expired, right? That is because of we have a check. So this is our backend in the VS code, and this is where we have added require sign in. So after 1 hour if you try to sign out, then this token will be not a valid token, right? So what we can do right now, we can just remove this check from here, and we'll think about another solution. We'll come up with another solution, right? So now let's continue with the process of adding categories, displaying categories and all, right? So this is sidebar. Let me refresh this. So this is fine, and here you can see the login success and all sidebar. So here we have home. So let's go to the home index.js and let's remove this container because we already have container from the layout, right? So let's remove this, save, and add the container with the property sidebar. And also let's verify the layout, and here we have the same thing, right? So let's save and let's go to the admin dashboard, and here we have the same things, right? So I'm going to add a few more properties like categories and products and all. So first we will create the action files. So here we have actions. Let's create category.action.js. Also create a file like order.action.js, and also let's create product.action.js, right? And also to handle these actions we need to have reducers, right? So there we have reducers. Let's create a file that is let's say the category.reducer.js. Also create a reducer for product.reducer.js, and also create order.reducer.js, right? And so or add these reducer in the index.js file, so we don't need to do that later, right? So let's add import, and we'll say product reducer from, and here we are going to say product reducer. Now let's add category also, category reducer from category page, right? So that's category reducer. Also add orders, right? Order reducer from, we'll say order reducer, right? Now let's save, and now add here. So here we're going to say category, and we'll say category reducer, then add product, and here we are going to say product reducer, right? And then finally order. Okay, so we'll say order reducer. We'll add more reducers, but let's add these three for now. And now let's close everything. So here we have src, and here we have created our actions, right? So let's create a page level component, that is the category. So here we have home, orders, we have created products. Okay, now let's create a category. So let's create folder. Here we can see the category, and add an index file, index.js, and here we have index.js, right? Now let's create a component, rfc. We'll say category, save. Now let's add a layout. So here we're going to say layout, and this is okay, we have to add manually. So we'll say import layout from, here we are going to say let's come out and come out again, components layout, right? Save. Also add a property with sidebar, right? So this is category. Now let's add a text just for the confirmation it is added or not. Category, right? Now let's go to the app.js and here add a private route that is category, right? Let's say category. Now let's remove this exact keyword and now let's import the category component and hopefully it is added, right? So here it is added. Now let's save and let's go to the sidebar also, containers and components and layout and index.js, and here we are going to add a category, right? So here we're going to say category and now let's add a category, right? Save. Now let's go and you can see we have 4 options right now. I'm not styling it right now but will style soon. But here we have home, here we have category as you can see, then products, okay. So categories. Now let's add a rows and columns so we can create our form and all, we can display the categories, right? So here we have let's go to the container and index.js and here we have category, right? So here I'm gonna say a container, not container, okay, let's add, it's not a problem, container. And now let's import the container from React Bootstrap. So we'll say from React-Bootstrap, and here we are going to import a couple of components like container, row, column, okay. And here we are going to say row, inside we are going to say column, okay. Let's take the whole width, okay. So we'll say medium and take the complete 12 width, and here I'm going to say let's say h3 and we'll say category, okay. And you can see we have category, right, in the category section. Okay, let's correct it. So here we have column d12, okay. So we'll add something like some properties we can get from the Bootstrap, but I'm going to add it from the CSS style, okay, because I don't want to check the Bootstrap right now how we can do that. So I know this is better. Here we can say, so here we can see this S3 category, and the next we can add a button, and I can say here a plus symbol or anything like add, so we can add the category, right? And we'll add a style over here. We'll say display, that is going to be flex, and justify content, that you can also do with Bootstrap, totally fine, okay. There are properties like that, so you in the Bootstrap way. So let's say space between, and here you can see we have category and we have this add button, right? So we can add the category, but before that let's create the action, okay. So we can fetch the category. So here we have actions, where here we have category.actions, and now let's create a function. So here we're going to say export, okay, that is not right. We'll say export const and get all category, and here we are going to say empty object will return an action, so that is an async action, dispatch, okay. So asynchronous action, and now let's, so we are going to make a request, right? Const res equals to await, and here we're going to say response dot, it's a get request, right? If you remember, you can check the Postman. So here we have API category / get category to get the categories. Now let's copy this and paste over here, okay. So here we have category get category, right? And okay, we have got the response. Now let's do the console.log so we can check the response, right? And then we can do the some setup, right? So here we have response. Now let's go to the category index.js, and here we have category, right? So we will dispatch an action from the use effect, okay, format document, and here we are going to say use effect, right? And here it takes a callback, and to make it like component did mount, we are going to pass an empty array, and here we can dispatch an action, right? So first we'll create the const dispatch equals to use dispatch. Okay, and so we have imported use effect as well as use dispatch. Okay, now here come and we'll say dispatch, and now it's time to import the action, right? So it is get all category, right? And here you can see we have imported this get all category, and it is coming from category dot action, right? So yeah, that is not I want. And here you can see index.js, and now let's import your export first, export everything from the file that is actually the category action, right? So category action, now let's save and go to the category component, and now let's remove this. We don't need to write this one. Okay, cool. So we can import action like that, and let's go check your browser. Hopefully it is reloaded. Okay, now let's go, and you can see we have got a login success. You can check the network tab also. And are we making any action to make? Let's check async action. Now let's reload, and I think not. Okay, so let's go, and okay, not this. Here we have a category use effect category, right? So here we are dispatching. Okay, it's actually a function, right? So we have to call this. Now let's go, and you can see we have got a error. That is a good thing. Cannot access res before initialization. Okay, so res initialization, what we have done. So here we have action, category action, right? And oh, sorry man, that is not res, that is the Axios, right? And we have to import the Axios from the helper, right? You can take it from auth, and that is here. Let's copy and category actions. Now let's paste over here, save, and this time it worked, right? And you can see we have got two response actually. Okay, so see the first one, second one, and here we have data, here we have category list, and here we have our three different categories with children, mobiles. But why the second one also, right? That is not a response. Okay, that is a response, that's a request, but without a data, right? You can see the data is undefined over here, and it's probably because of React making that request. Why it is making that request? So here we are dispatching an action. Let's go and check category actions, and here we are. It should make only one, right? Let me verify it. Console.log, and I can say here it's a category.js file. Hopefully it is not going to print twice. If you check, and here you can see category.js. Okay, it's twice. Now let me reload. Okay, it's fine, it's totally fine. It is two times, but if you navigate right now, let's say products, this is fine, home, fine. Now let's go to the category, and this time it is only one time. Okay, so when you will reload the application, then only it is going to make two times request. It's because it is checking also for the authenticity of the user, right? And it is going to the private route first and then coming back. That's why it is making requests two times, so it's not a problem. But if you navigate from here, it's only once. It's not a problem, right? So we can either change our current architecture design, or we can keep going like that. Okay, so we'll think about it later. So here we have category, and it is working fine. Now it's time to show the category over here, right? So here we have category.js, and here we have category add, right? And here we have container. So in the next row, I'm going to display the category, right? Row, and here I'm going to say call, and this is again going to be a 12. Okay, here we are going to display the category. Okay, so category, right? First we need to dispatch the category, right? Here we have res. We'll check if res dot status that is equals to 200. Okay, if it is 200, then we'll dispatch a couple of actions like dispatch with the type. Now let's create constants. Here we have Okay, here we have auth constant, user constant. Now let's create export and we'll say now let's save, and now let's go to the category dot action, and here we are going to say category constants dot get underscore all underscore category success, right? And payload is going to be, let's import, let's extract the data. So that is actually, you can check your Postman, and it's category list. Let's copy and let's go over here, and here we are going to say res dot data, right? And here we are going to say categories, and here we are going to say the category list, right? Save, and also dispatch action before the request, so that is going to be dispatch, and here we are going to say type, and we'll say category constants, right? Category constants dot get underscore all underscore category request completed. Save. If it is not 200, it means something else, right? And here again we are going to dispatch the action, that is going to be type category constants dot get underscore all underscore category failure, and here we are going to say payload, that is going to be error, and res dot data dot error, right? Now let's save. So this is how we are going to dispatch our categories, right? Now let's go and check, and here you can see we have got success 2 times, get all categories success, and here again we have got get all category success. Okay, it is fine actually. If you see products, let's go to the categories, and here first one is the request. So we have got get all categories request. First we made the request, and then we have got a success with the payload categories, like we have got 3 items, right? Now let's go and write the reducer. So here we are going to say const init initial state of the categories, and here we are going to say that is let's say the loading first get the initial state, and then categories. So if it is a success, then we are going to get the categories, right? Action dot payload dot categories, right? Now save, and then return the state. Okay, we'll say state over here. Also, after completing the case, let's break, and here it is reloading. Something went wrong. Okay, now it is fine, right? Clear the console, categories, request, success. Now check the store. Here you can see we have got a category, and inside the category we have categories array, and then we have 3 different items, electronics, and it is going to hold a couple of things, right? Now let's try to display the categories. Okay, so let's go to the category page, and here we want to display the categories, right? So we'll display here like that, electronics. Okay, and you can see we have got electronics. So we'll display like ULLI like that, because this category is like nested categories. Okay, so we'll create a function again, const, and we'll display render categories. Okay, and also we need to get the value from the state, right? Const will say category equals to use selector, and it is going to give a state, and we can extract the category, right? Say category, and here we have category, right? So here we are going to get the categories as an argument. And the amazing thing we are going to do, so if you are familiar with the data structure and linked list and queue, then this video is really amazing, right? So it is going to help you learn, it is going to help you to use the practical knowledge, right? So here we have render categories, and it is like a tree structure, right? So we are going to display for, and okay, so we'll say let, and we'll create categories as an empty array. Okay, and we'll use a for loop let, and here we're going to say category of categories. Okay, and category of categories, right? And we'll check what. So here we're going to say categories dot push. Here we are going to push our categories, right? And before that, let me tell you one thing. Here we are returning a JSX element, right? So this is the JSX element. We have created generic components and all, right? We can also store the JSX elements in an array, and then we can return. It is going to work exactly like this return. Let me show you how. So there we have push, and we are going to store our list in the categories array, right? So we are going to say here li, okay, li, and here we are going to print category dot, here we have category name, right? So there we have categories, that's an array which holds couple of objects, and we are iterating through those objects. So we have got object, and we can print the name right here like that. And now let's return this categories. Okay, return, and here we are going to say that is categories, save, and now let's render the categories. That is going to be rendered inside the UL. Okay, and here we are going to say render categories, and now let's pass category dot categories, right? So this is category we are getting from the state right here, and then we have an array categories we are passing simply. Now let's go and check use selector is not defined. So now let's add a use selector, that is from the React Redux use selector. Now let's reload, and here we have categories. So what, syntax error? Okay, syntax error. Okay, the problem is category as an argument, and here we are also writing categories, declaring a variable, say my categories. Now let's copy this my categories and paste over here, my categories dot push. So we are going to push li tag inside the my categories, and now let's return the my categories over here instead of categories, right? Save, and here objects are not valid as React child. Okay, fine. So here we have got electronic sports books men, and we have also got an error render method of category, right? Each element should have a unique key. So let's add a key equals to, let's add a category category dot name. Hopefully that error will be resolved with that. Okay, so this is fine. We have got electronic sportsmen, right? But okay, this is just LIs, and we can do with map function also. We don't need to use the push, we can do, right? But why I'm doing this, because we want to use a recursive approach to fetch all of the categories, all of the children categories, right? So here we have li, and inside this li I'm gonna use ul, and okay, that's here ul, and now let's add something like okay, so here we are going to add one more expression, that is let's say the category dot here we have children also, say category dot children dot length. If greater than 0, then we are going to add a ul tag, that's an expression, right? ul, and then we'll say ul, and then we'll say again the category, like let's push it, put up, and here we are going to call that function, render function again, render categories, and here we are, if this children has length, then we have to pass that as a categories, category dot categories. Okay, and if it is not greater than 0, then simply make it null, right? Okay, let's see, there is a problem, right? So where is the problem? Expression, okay, that's here. If it is greater than 0, then question mark, else that is null, right? Now this is fine, and we are going to return this categories. Now let's go and check in your database, and we are getting an error, that's categories is not iterable. Okay, that is not categories, it's children actually. So that is again a category. Now let's save, and now let's reload. And here you can see we have got our expected list. We have got electronics, we have got mobiles, and so the mobiles we have Samsung, we have Realme, then other two categories, sports, more books and more, and then men we have, right? And this render categories is working fine, right? So render category is done. Now we are going to add a model so we can add the category, right? So let's go and let's go to the bootstrap. We'll say get bootstrap.com, and okay, not this one, we'll say react bootstrap, and now let's open this. Now let's get started, and here we're going to say model. Okay, let's copy this model. So here we have the basic model, and then here we have, so you can see the launch model, and we are going to get something like that. So we are going to use this example. Let's copy this model, copy and paste inside the body. So here we have a row container. Now let's add this model out of the container. It doesn't matter wherever you add. So let's give it some indentation, and now let's import the model also from the bootstrap. Here we are going to say model, save, and okay, we have the model. Now let's copy the button also. So here we have button, right? Copy. Okay, we don't need, right? We just need this on click event. So we'll create these two functions. Let's copy, and let's close this VS Code, creating problem for me. And here before this render, we'll add those two functions. So here handle close and handle show, we need to add some state value also. So we'll say const, and let's copy this directly from here, and we'll say like that, show a set show false. Okay, so now here we have a button, right? Let's go and let's copy this on click. What else? Launch demo, and rest of the thing is fine. Now let's go check it's working or not. So where use state is not defined, button is not defined. Okay, let's go and add a use state. Use state, and also add a button. Okay, that's not button. Okay, so here we have category, here we have our add button. Let's click on this add button, and you can see the model is working fine. So we have got model heading. Now let's modify this model, right? So let's go, and here we have, instead of model heading, we are going to say add a new category, and let's remove this ooh from the body. And here we're going to add our inputs. Now we don't need extra this button close. Okay, so let's remove this. So this is a footer actually, and also format the document, right? So here we have model body, and here we are going to add our form, right? We'll say, so we already have an input, right? So that's generic input we have created. You can see, you can also import that input from the input. Okay, and here we have to specify some values, right? So we'll say value placeholder, that is going to be enter. Okay, just category name and category name on change. Now let's create a state value for that so we can bind it, const, and here we can see the category name and let's say empty string for the now. Category image, are we using anywhere else? That is fine. So category name, parent category ID and category image, right? Now let's go to the form and here we have value, so we'll say the category name placeholder on change, we are going to say event, and here we're going to set category name, and here we're going to say e.target dot value. Okay, on change is done, placeholder on change. Now let's save, check. Okay, so it's reloaded, add, and you can see we have got a category name. We can write also, right? You can add a label over here, like or you can leave it blank also, that is totally fine. So we'll say category name. Also we need a select. So right now I'm taking a normal select input, will improve, will create a generic input also, but let's take a normal select from the HTML select, and we'll say option. So let's select category, which category I'm going to add. So that's, I need the parent, right? So here we need to add our options like electronics, mobiles and all that, right? So this time we have a nested category list, right? Here you can see we are using that category to create our nested list, right? So we can also create a linear list using the same list. Okay, so let me create, so we can create options. Later we will do something else about that, but right now let's keep it a normal a list of options, right? So we'll say create category list. Okay, and here we are going to get option categories. Okay, so we'll say, oh, categories is fine, categories, and next we are going to create options as an empty array. Okay, and here we have for loop, we'll say let, and here we're going to say the category of categories. Okay, now here we are going to say options, right? We have options, so we can push all the list, all the categories in the options array. Okay, so we'll say options dot push, and here we are going to have, let's create an object, right? So here we're going to say the value, and value is going to be the category dot underscore ID, and name is going to be category dot name, right? So this is a normal list, normal push list. Next we'll check if category dot children dot length greater than 0, then we'll recall it. Okay, so we'll say create category list, and here we're going to pass the categories, not category, here we're going to pass the category dot children. So this is sub list, that is going to be as a category, and then we'll pass the options as a second argument. Okay, and at the end we'll return it. So we'll say return options. Now let's see this is going to work or not first. So let's copy this, create categories, And here so here we have render categories. Now after the render categories, use json.stringify, and here we're going to say the create category list and then pass the category dot categories, and see the result. And here we have got an array, so we are using stringify function, that's why we are able to see like that. So this is an array with the value, like this is the value of the category, that is actually the category ID, and then name electronics, and then value with ID name mobiles, and all we have like normal linear list. Okay, that's a collection of objects. Okay, so here let's remove this from here because we don't need. I just want to show that, right? So here we are going to say so here we are going to say create category list, and here we're going to pass the category dot categories, and this is going to return array, so we can use our map function, map. Here we're going to say option, and here we can say option, and now let's add something like option dot, we'll say name. Okay, that's option dot name, and also we need to add a value, that is going to be option dot value, and also we need to add a key, so that is going to be option dot value again as a key. Okay, so this is our select option. Now let's go and check your render function, and here we have select category, we have electronics, mobile, Samsung, Realme, sports, and more, right? Okay, so this is done, and now let's add a bootstrap class over here. So we'll say class name equals to form hyphen control. That's a bootstrap class. Okay, let it reload first, and here we have add. Here you can see we have category name, we have these options, right? Also we need to add the image. Next is the input image. Input type is going to be a file, name is going to be a category image. Okay, and placeholder, I don't think placeholder is required, so that's it. Here you can see the result, add, and we have a choose file option, right? So we can choose a file. Now let's add our onChange function to handle the file onChange, and here we are going to write a function. Let's say handle category image. Now let's copy this name and let's create a function to handle it. Const event, and here we are going to say set category image, and here it is going to be event dot target dot files and 0. So that's files is an array, and we are going to get one file, right? So that's the first index of the array, and this is how we are setting up the image. So here you can see what we have done. We have created an input with the value category name, then we have our option. So let's also add here onChange, and here it is going to be event set, and here I'm going to say set parent category ID, and that is going to be event dot target dot value, and also this needs a value, right? So we'll say value equals to parent category ID. Okay, save. Now let's go and let it reload, and here we can see we can add, right? So here we have option, we can select, it is working fine, we can write, and we can also choose a file, right? So here are our options. Now let's submit this form. Okay, so let's go, and here we are handling handle close. So let's go to the function handle close. Here you can see we have handle close, right? So let's write a function body, and let's copy this, set show inside this. Okay, now let's create a form object. Const form equals to new form data, and here we're going to say the form. Okay, before that, let's see our current output. So we'll say const, here we're going to say the category cat, and let's write here category category name. Then next we have parent category ID, and then a file, right? So we'll say category image, right? So category image, here we have category image, right? Now let's go and console.log and say cat, save. Here let's clear console and clear the console again. Now let's write a name. So let's add iPhone, right? Select category, let's say mobiles, and choose a file that is going to be iPhone brand. And now let's save changes, and here you can see what we have category name iPhone, we have parent category, that is mobile, actually mobile ID, and then we have got category image, right? So we are ready to submit our data. So here what we need to do, let's comment this, and let's use the form dot append, and here we are going to say, let's go to the postman, and it is name. So here we're going to say name, and then we'll say category name, right? Form dot append, next is parent ID, copy, paste over here, and here it is going to be the parent category ID, and then finally we have form image, right? That is, let's copy this and paste over here. Next argument is going to be the category image, right? So this is our form, right, with the name, parent ID, category image, and now we're ready to submit it. So let's write the action. So here we have category action, right? Now let's create a new action. So we'll say export const, and here we're going to say the add category, that is going to take a form. Okay, here we're going to return async dispatch, and here we are going to say const res equals to await axios dot, it's a post request, right? So it's a post request. Data is category create, let's copy and paste over here, category create. The next argument will be the data, so that is actually the form, and console.log, we can see the response, right? Save it, and now let's execute this action, add category, copy, and now let's go to the category file. Here we can dispatch the action. We'll say dispatch, and here we can say add category, and then pass the form. Now let's save. Okay, so we are done. Here we have created our form with the data also, right? Now let's go to the postman. Cat is not defined. Now let's go and let's remove this. Okay, browser, add category is not defined. Add category is from the action, so here we can see add category. Now let it reload. Let's clear console. Now click on the add, and this error is because of we are not adding a key in the list. Okay, so let's clear the console and write iPhone. Okay, select the category, so that is mobile, choose a file, so let's say iPhone brand, open. Now let's save change, and you can see we have got a response, that's status 201. Okay, so we have got a data also. Here you can see the data and category image. So this is the localhost 2000 public iPhone brand, right? You can check the database also. Let's reset it. And here you can see the newly added iPhone is available here. Now let's, if you reload this page, because we haven't reloaded it yet, and you can see we have got Samsung, Realme, as well as iPhone. So right now I'm displaying it a very normal way, as it's just a collect list of UL and LI tags, you can see. So this is how we can also design it, because this is just a collection of LIs, ULs and all. So if you see the UL, and inside this we have got 3 LIs, and inside this LIs we have electronics, and then again we have a UL and then LI, UL, like that. So we can use CSS to design it. Okay, so that's how we are going to work with the categories, and we have added our subcategories also, right? So let's create the action. So where is our reducer, category reducer here? First let's create the constants. Save. And here we have category actions, right? Now dispatch an action, dispatch. And here we have res data, so probably here we'll have error. Okay, now let's go to the reducer to handle it. So here we have category reducer case. So here we have written three different cases. So request, success and failure. When request, then loading will be true. We can perform some actions. Some we can show some data like loading or spin error. If it is success, then we'll make the loading false and the data will be displayed. And here it is going to be a failure case, right? Here we can also handle the success. We don't need to make a request again to fetch the data, but we can add our data in this success case in the category, right? We'll see in the next video. So first let's add here. So guys, this is it for this video, and we will continue in the next video. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to share, like and subscribe. Bye.